So we've got Summer's point of view. Some kids have actually come out and asked me why I hang out with the freak so much. These kids that don't even know him well. If they knew him, they wouldn't call him that. Because he's a nice kid, I would always answer, and don't call him that. You're a saint, Summer, Zamina Chin said to me the other day. I couldn't do what you're doing. It's not a big deal, I answered her truthfully. Did Mr. Tushman ask you to be friends with him? Charlotte asked. No, I'm friends with him because I want to be friends with him, I answered. Who knew that my sitting with August Pullman at lunch would become such a big deal? People acted like it was the strangest thing in the world. It's weird how weird kids can be. I sat with him that first day because I felt sorry for him, that's all. Here he was, this strange-looking kid in a brand new school. No one was talking to him, everybody was staring at him. All the girls at my table were whispering about him. He wasn't the only new kid at Bijou Prep, but he was the only one who everyone was talking about. Julian had nicknamed him the Zombie Kid. And that's what everyone was calling him. Stuff like that gets around fast. And August knew it. It's hard enough being the new kid, even when you have a normal face. Imagine if you didn't. So I just went over and sat with him. Not a big deal. I wish people would stop trying to turn it into something major. He's just a kid. Just a kid like you and I. I do admit August's face takes some getting used to. I've been sitting with him for 2 weeks now, and let's just say he's not the neatest eater in the world. But other than that, he's pretty nice. I should also say that I don't really feel sorry for him anymore. That might have been what made me sit down with him the first time. But it's not why I keep sitting down with him. I keep sitting down with him because he's fun. One of the things I'm not loving about this year is how a lot of the kids are acting like they're too grown up to play things anymore. All they want to do is hang out and talk at recess. And all I talk about now, half the time, is who likes who. August doesn't bother about that stuff, because we're too young. He likes to play Foursquare at recess, which I love to do too. It was actually because I was playing Foursquare with August that I found out about the plague. Apparently this is a game that's been going on since the beginning of the year. Anyone who accidentally touches August has only 30 seconds to wash their hands or find hand sanitizer before they catch the plague. I'm not sure what happens if you actually catch it because nobody's touched August yet, not directly. How I found out about this was that Maya Markowitz told me that the reason she won't play Foursquare with us at recess is that she doesn't want to catch the plague. I was like, what's the plague? And she told me. I told Maya I thought that was really dumb, and she agreed, but she still wouldn't touch the ball. Not that she could help it. I was really excited because I got an invitation to Savannah's Halloween party. Savannah's probably the most popular girl in school. Everybody wants to be friends with her. Anyway, even though I'm not in the popular group, I somehow got invited, which was kind of cool. When I told Savannah I got her invitation and would be going to the party, she was really nice to me, though she made sure to tell me that she didn't invite a lot of people, so I shouldn't go around bragging to anyone that got invited. Maya didn't get invited, for instance. Savannah also made sure to tell me not to wear a costume. It's good, she told me, because of course I would have worn a costume to a Halloween party. Not the unicorn one that I made for the Halloween parade, but another one that I would have worn to school. But even that was a no-no for Savannah's party. The only negative about my going to Savannah's party was that now I wouldn't be able to go to the parade. That was kind of a bummer, but okay. Anyway, the first thing that happened when I got to her party was that Savannah greeted me at the door and asked, "Where's your boyfriend, Summer?" I didn't even know what she was talking about. "I guess he doesn't have to wear a mask for Halloween, right?" she added, and then I knew she was talking about August. "He's not my boyfriend," I said. "I know, I'm just kidding," she said. She invited me in and I threw my coat on the coat rack. Then she took me by the hand down the stairs to her basement, which was where the party was. I didn't see her parents anywhere. She's back. Hi, Matters. Thank you. Really? Oh, you're so helpful. Let's see where we left off. So, a kid named Henry asked, "We want to know why you're hanging out with the zombie kid so much." "He's not a zombie," I said like they were making a joke. I was smiling, but I didn't feel like smiling. You know, Summer, you'd be a lot more popular if you didn't hang out with him so much. So you have to choose, who do you want to hang out with? Savannah asked. She was talking to me like a big sister would talk to a little sister. Everyone likes you, Summer. Everyone thinks you're really nice and that you're really pretty. You could totally be a part of the cool group if you wanted to, and believe me, there's a lot of girls in your grade who would love that. I know, I nodded. Thanks. You're welcome, she answered. Can I use your restroom? Where's that? I asked. I went to where she pointed, sat down on the side of the tub, and called my mom for her to pick me up. Is everything okay? Asked Mom. Yeah, I just don't want to be here, I said. Mom didn't ask any more questions and said she'd be there in 10 minutes. Don't ring the bell, I told her. Just call me when you're outside. I hung out in the restroom until Mom called, and then I snuck upstairs without anyone seeing me, got my jacket, and went outside. It was only 9:30, and the Halloween parade was in full swing. Huge crowds everywhere. Everyone was in costumes, but not one unicorn. The next day at school, I told Savannah I'd eaten some really bad candy and gotten sick, which was why I went home early from her party, and she believed me. There was actually a stomach bug going around, so it was kind of a good lie. I also told her that I had... Oops, hold on. August was absent the day after Halloween, and when he came back, I could tell something was up with him. He was acting very weird at lunch. He barely said a word and kept looking down at his food when I talked to him, like he wouldn't look at me in the eye. Finally, I asked, August, is everything okay? Are you mad at me or something? No, he said. Well, I'm sorry you weren't feeling well on Halloween. I kept looking for Boba Fett in the hallways. Yeah, I was sick, he said. Did you have the stomach bug? Yeah, I guess, he answered. He opened a book and started to read, which was kind of rude since I was in the middle of talking to him. I'm so excited about the Egyptian Museum project, I said. Aren't you? He shook his head, his mouth full of food. I actually looked away because the way he was chewing, which almost looked like he was trying to be gross on purpose, and the way his eyes were just kind of closed down, I was getting a really bad feeling. What project did you get? I asked. He shrugged, pulled out a little scrap of paper from his jeans pocket, and flicked it across the table. Everyone in the grade got assigned an Egyptian artifact to work on for the Egyptian Museum Day, which was going to be in December. The teachers wrote all the assignments down on tiny scraps of paper, which were put into a fishbowl, and then all us kids in the grade took turns picking out the papers. I unfolded August's little slip. Oh, cool, I said, maybe a little too overexcited because I was trying to get him psyched up. You got the Step Pyramid of Saqqara. I know, he said. Well, I get Anubis. It's actually, I think, has the head of a jackal. I said, hey, you want to start working on our projects together after school? You could come over to my house. He put his sandwich down and leaned back in his chair. I can't even describe the look he was giving me. You know, Summer, he said, you don't have to do this. What are you talking about? I asked. You don't have to be friends with me, he said. I know Mr. Tushman talked to you. I have no idea what you're talking about, August, I said. You don't have to pretend, is all I'm saying, he said. I know Mr. Tushman talked to you, and he talked to some other kids before school and told them to be friends with me. Maybe, but he didn't talk to me, August. Yeah, he did. No, he didn't, I said. Yeah, he did, August argued back. No, he didn't, I said. I put my hands up in the air so he could see I wasn't crossing my fingers. He immediately looked down at his feet, so I shook off my Uggs so he could see my toes weren't crossed either. You're wearing tights, he said accusingly. Well, you can see that my toes are flat, I said. Okay, you don't have to get so hysterical, he said. Well, I don't like being accused of things, okay? Okay, I'm sorry, he said. Well, you should be, I told him. Mr. Tushman really didn't talk to you? Augie, I said. Okay. I'm sorry, he said, apologizing. I would have stayed mad at him longer, but then he told me about something bad that had happened on Halloween, and I couldn't stay mad at him anymore. Basically, he heard Jack bad-mouthing him and saying some really horrible things behind his back. It kind of explained his attitude, and now I knew why he'd been out sick. Promise you won't tell anybody, he said. I won't, I nodded. Promise you won't ever be mean to me again? Promise, he said. I had warned Mom about August's face. I had described what he looked like. I did this because I know she's not always so good at faking her feelings, and August was coming over for the first time today. I even sent her a text at work to remind her about it, but I could tell from the expression on her face when she came home after work that I hadn't prepared her enough. She was shocked when she came through the door and saw his face for the first time. Hi, Mom, this is Augie. Can you stay for dinner? I asked quickly. It took a second for my question to even register. Hi, Augie, she said. Of course, sweetheart. It's okay if it's okay with Augie's mother. While Augie called his mother on the phone, I whispered to Mom, "Stop making that weird-outed face." She had that look like when she's watching the news and some horrific event had happened. She nodded quickly like she hadn't realized she was making a face, and was really nice and normal to Augie. After a while, Augie and I got tired of working on our projects, and we went to hang out in the living room. Augie was looking at the pictures on the mantel and saw a picture of my dad and I. "Is that your dad?" he asked. "Yeah." "I didn't know you were, what's the word?" "Biracial," I told him. "Right, that's it." He looked at the picture again. "Are your parents divorced? I've never seen him drop you off at school or anything." "Oh, no," I said. "He was a platoon sergeant. He died a few years ago." "Whoa, I didn't know that," said August. "Yeah," I nodded, handing him a picture of my dad in his uniform. "Wow, look at all those medals," said Augie. "Yeah," I said, "he was pretty awesome." "Well, Summer, I'm really sorry," said Augie. "Yeah. It's not fun. I really missed him a lot." "Yeah, wow," he nodded, handing me back the picture. "Have you ever known anyone who died?" I asked. "Just my grandma, and I don't really even remember her," said August. "That's too bad," I said. Augie nodded. Sorry. "Hey, Augie, can I ask you a question?" I asked. "Yeah," he said, like he knew exactly what I wanted to ask. I hesitated. I'd been wanting to ask him this for a while, but I'd always lost the guts to ask. "What?" he asked. "You want to know what's wrong with my face?" "Yeah, I guess," she said, "if it's okay for me to ask." He shrugged. I was so relieved that he didn't seem mad or sad. "Yeah, it's no big deal," he said casually. "The main thing I have is this thing called mandibulofacial dysostosis. I have to go slower, I can't say it," he laughed. It took me forever to learn how to pronounce it, by the way. But I also have this other syndrome thing that I can't even pronounce, and they kind of just morph together into one big super thing, which is really rare. They don't even have a name for it. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm actually considered something of a medical wonder, you know? He smiled and laughed. "That was a joke," he said. "You can laugh." I smiled and shook my head. "You're funny, Augie," I said. "Yeah, I am," he said proudly. Over the next month, August and I hung out a lot after school, either at my house or his. August's parents even invited me and Mom over for dinner a couple of times. I overheard them talking about fixing Mom up on a blind date with August's Uncle Ben. On the day of the Egyptian Museum exhibit, we were all really excited and kind of giddy. It had snowed the day before. Not as much as it had snowed over Thanksgiving break, but still, snow was snow. The gym was turned into a giant museum, with everyone's Egyptian artifact displayed on a table with a little caption card explaining what the thing was. Most of the artifacts were really great, but I have to say I really think mine and August were the best. My sculpture of Anubis looked pretty real, and I'd even used a real gold paint on it. And August had made his step pyramid out of sugar cubes. It was 2 feet high and 2 feet long, and he had spray painted the cubes with some kind of fake sand paint or something. It looked really awesome. We all dressed up in Egyptian costumes. Some of the kids were Indiana Jones type archaeologists. Some of them dressed up like pharaohs. August and I dressed up like mummies. Our faces were covered except for 2 little holes for the eyes and 1 little hole for the mouth. When the parents showed up, they all lined up the hallway in front of the gym. Then we were told we could go get our parents, and each kid got to take his or her parents on a flashlight tour through the dark gym. August and I took our moms around together. We stopped at each exhibit, explaining what it was, talking in whispers, answering questions. Since it was dark, we used our flashlights to illuminate the artifacts while we were talking. Sometimes, for dramatic effect, we would hold the flashlights under our chins while we were explaining something in detail. It was a lot of fun. Hearing all these whispers in the dark, seeing all the lights zigzagging around the dark room. At one point, I went over to get a drink at the water fountain. I had to take the mummy wrap off my face. "Hey, Summer," said Jack, who'd come over to talk to me. He was dressed like the man from the mummy. "Cool costume." "Thanks," I said. "Is the other mummy August?" "Yeah," I answered. Said Jack. "Do you know why August is mad at me?" "Yeah," I nodded. "Can you tell me?" he asked. "No," I said. He nodded and seemed really bummed out. "I told him I wouldn't tell you," I explained. "It's so weird," he said. "I have no idea why he's mad at me all of a sudden. None. Can't you at least give me a hint?" I looked over at where August was across the room talking to our moms. I wasn't about to break my solid oath that I wouldn't tell anybody about what I'd overheard, but I felt bad for Jack. "Bleeding scream," I whispered in his ear, and then walked away. So the next video will be Jack's point of view.